Hold on one second, Joe. Good morning. Good morning, Rabbi Brian. It is January 11th, 2025, and I'm glad that you're joining. This is a gathering. We started without you. If you're just starting right now, welcome. We're restarting. We will start again. At present, we've been discussing this quote, and we also had our first official meeting of the OU2 group, which is a caregiver support group. So all the caregivers, glad that everyone is here. Um, Candace, I have a question. Do
Yes.
do
Well, which
we
Candace? I am assuming
you?
it's me.
It's you, Candace.
Okay.
I'm assuming. Do we close the? Oh, and let me just say hi. There's everybody on the screen at once. Um, do we close the caregiver support group, or I assume we just leave it open, and as people want
E-
to trickle back
Every
in, they'll trickle back in.
everyone vacated, so I went ahead and
Yeah,
closed it.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh, but
Yeah,
if you are interested, we're going to try to find a different time. So if you want to send either me, Meg, or your email address, put it in the chat and just say I'm interested. We'll add you to a list so that we can coordinate a separate time and an hour.
Issues.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad. We last week we there are a lot of people who are trying to be of help, and being of help sometimes means putting our second, and there's some problems that go along with that. That was this little quote that came out at in the invitation to the service was awards that do not exist and you're trying to win anyway. Um, anybody here? Anyone here won the most perfect award yet? Show of hands.
of course, of course.
Just one. Anybody here win the award for not saying no? Resting the least? Anyone here
No.
resting? Anyone here resting more than necessary? No.
No.
Anyone here not needing help? Show of hands. Anyone not needing help? That's absolutely just nobody. Okay. Anyone here win an award for working longer than anyone else?
At times I
I
should
probably
have.
got that one a few times.
Okay.
It did in
Is
college.
that all right? Let me ask this one a little bit differently. Is there anyone here who tried to win the award for not making any mistakes?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then finally, the anyone win the award for trying to live up to everyone else's expectations? And we know the answer to that. Good morning. I want to start with two announcements, and I apologize. I'm limping along computer wise today. Things have gone a little haywire. I'm missing a monitor, but it's all fine. Two announcements. One, I wanted to make two two apologies. One to Rita, who had wanted to speak on one topic, and I moved the conversation along faster than I ought to have, and I wanted to apologize to Rita for that, and I wanted to apologize to Carol Ox, who made a brilliant comment. I think it was 2 weeks ago already about how change can lead us to something new and that change isn't always bad and trying to get things to stay the same isn't always the goal, that change can be transformative and open things up to new possibilities. And I jumped over that, and I wanted to circle back and make an amends. Okay. And then look, I can change it to that one. There we go. I fixed it. Um, Other announcements. I'm going to tell you about 10 years ago, I was in a workshop in a program run by a man by the name of David Ellis. Brilliant, brilliant man. And he was speaking, and there was one microphone where he had set up another alternate microphone for people who had insights about what he was talking about. And he invited people to come up to the second microphone and to share what insight they had just gotten from what he was talking about. And I went up to that microphone and I shared something. And I got caught up in what I was sharing, And I kind of just started to talk and talk and talk and just kind of go without making a point. And he said, "Well, Brian, Rabbi, thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to have to cut you off there." Oh my God, I don't remember what I was sharing. I just remember the amount of shame that I had from being, I felt horrible shame. And I thought last week, while Lori was running the service and I was a participant last week, I recognized how vulnerable it is to share in a large group, and how one of the prices of sharing in a large group is that, boy, shame can be triggered so easily and quickly. And I don't know how to, if somebody winds up with the adrenaline of sharing and they wind up, kind of looping and talking, and I don't know how to interrupt that person without, with no guarantee that I won't shame them. And so the best I could come up with was I wanted to share this with you as a group here, which is shame's going to happen. And if you have the ability to call out and say, "Hey, I felt a little bit shamed," I can apologize and I can respond then and there if we can do it in the present moment. Um, okay, glad we talked about that. I'm in a, hold on one second, checking my notes. Okay. Usually at this time, we have a moment from our intern where our intern talks about something that they learned in the last week. And I am extra super proud of our intern, Lori. First of all, thank you to Lori for running the service last week so I didn't have to and I could be a participant. And it was eye-opening to be a participant in my own service. And I'm super proud of Lori because for Lori's learning this week, she sent me a message that said, "I don't want to do it today." I was like, "Yeah, awesome. That's the best learning you could have done." Right? That's real self-care. It's amazing self-care to be able to say, I can't do it today. I just can't do it today. I don't want to do it today. Um, and because Lori was raised female in Canada, she apologized more than necessary for doing so. Um, that being said, there's a vacancy. I don't have what Lori usually shares, which is something that she learned in the spiritual religious realm in the last week. And so I'm wondering, and I've kind of teased towards this in the past, that all of you are culpable. Culpable is not the right word. Well, culpable might be the right word, but capable was the word I was trying to go for. That you're all capable of learning something in the spiritual religious realm. What'd you learn in the last week? Is there a pithy, and the rule usually goes, can you fit it if you were writing with a Sharpie on an index card? Could you fit that one thing you learned in the last week or in the last 2 weeks? Or what's the thing you're learning right now that you could fit? And let's start with our friend Joe and then go to Alex and then Al.
Well, I just want to refer to what you're talking about with my lesson in compassion. And I would like to context that in that it's my mother who historically and currently, we are oil and water. We will always be oil and water. She doesn't know my love language. She doesn't know how to speak it. And I finally understand that she still loves me anyway. She's pretty sick. She's in the hospital. And I have an overwhelming love for that woman that I have probably never experienced in my lifetime.
I
And
love that. I
yeah,
love that.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I know it is
Yeah.
surprising me, but love's just always the answer. It just always is.
Wait. Does anyone remember the question? It doesn't matter what the question is. The answer is love.
Yes.
Yep.
Can we get a group amen?
Amen.
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 The answer
Yeah.
is love. Go ahead, Al, and then Alex. Alex, and then Al.
So, I've been absent for a few weeks. And what I learned during this time is how important self-care actually is. And
Amen.
part of the reason why I was gone is the holidays, and then my dad ended up in the hospital, and I just I thought I was going to get called down to go see him, but at the last minute he said, "No, don't come." And so I just took the time just to be, you know, me, not doing anything for
Yeah.
anybody. And that was so valuable. And so and there was part of me that felt kind of bad that I wasn't here, because there's this whole tape that plays in my head. Rabbis needs the help, and and I made a promise, and all of that. But what I realized is
You're forgiven.
I need sometimes I need to take time for me.
I
And
love
so
it.
I think that's a really important lesson that I think everybody needs to hear again and again and again.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.
And
Amen.
if you're just joining, we are starting a group called O, the letter O, the letter U, and the number 2. And OU2 is a caregiver support group. And if you put your email in the chat, we'll make sure you find out about when the next meeting is. We'll meet again next week just to do a check-in. But if you would like to be part of a caregiver support group, and let me be clear about one thing. There's nothing wrong with caregiving. It's a beautiful thing to do. The problem is when we do it at our own expense. Go ahead,
Mm.
Al.
Yeah, I just realized this week that I was reminded that facing reality often requires being able to face my own pain. I'm
Ooh, say
going
more.
through yeah, I'm going through a kind of spiritually and emotionally exploring class, and some of the things that are coming out of the class are kind of painful to think about. And I'm grateful for that. And being
Mm,
grateful for the pain has been an important part of the journey. Just to learn, I can't face what I don't like if I'm not willing to feel the pain of that loss. So
you can't.
that's a
You
lesson.
can't. You can't say that last part again. You can't face what you're not willing to face. I'm not. I'm not
Yeah,
wording it right.
if I'm not willing to feel the pain, if I'm going to do something to numb my pain, I'm not going to learn the lesson. I'm not going to be able to face my reality.
Mm.
That's another way of saying it.
Um, I would rather not face my pain.
Yeah,
Right.
there's solutions to that, and I'm not going to indulge in them right now.
Right. This goes back to the Robert Frost quote that we've bounced on many a time, which is the best way out is always through,
True.
Yeah, and sometimes
The-
through hurts.
Mhm.
and sometimes through hurts. Amen.
Yeah.
Hold on one sec. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, in reference to feeling the shame, I was in a meeting this past week, and I got rambling on, which I sometimes do, and the moderator said to me, "That's very interesting. We appreciate the insight, and now we need move, and now the next person will speak." And I didn't. I felt a little bit ashamed that I had sort of done that, but more than anything else, I came to understand that the moderator wasn't doing anything to me. What she was
Right.
doing was simply her responsibility, her job. She was moving us along. So any shame that was there was totally on me. And when I realized that I was just talking, and why should I be shameful about talking? So I gave myself that compassion, and it just went away.
I love that. I love that. Um, Anyone else need to add a little extra compassion to yourself? Anyone else think that they're judging themselves a little harsher than necessary? Is that just, I'm going to just take a quick look. Anyone else judging themselves harsher than necessary? If you have your
Oh,
hand
yeah.
up, I'd like you to take your hand, put it on your heart, and say, I'm going to be compassionate to myself.
I'm
Yes.
going to be
I'm going to be
compassionate
compassionate to
to
myself.
myself.
And then while I have all of you on the screen, it was just my birthday. I am now 55 years old. And as is tradition in religion outside the box land, we give the birthday celebrant the choice whether they want that birthday with or without song. And I'm going to choose with song.
Oh, no.
What a
dear.
choice.
Goody.
So if you want to mute, if not mute, if you want to turn the volume all the way down on your speaker, this would be the time to do it as we all join in the horrible idea of everyone singing at the same time. And hold on to
And we
Ethan
love
for
you
good
and
God of
celebrate
life.
you.
Birthday
To
to happy
happy
birthday
birthday.
To
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
Dear Rabbi
birthday,
Brian,
dear
Rabbi,
Rabbi. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Man,
And
I
many
love that.
more.
more.
Thank you all. Thank you all for indulging me in my birthday treat. And then I had some hands that were still up. Ron, you had something you were going to add?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll just do the very quick summary. Sometimes when you think you're being kind, it can cause hurt to someone else.
Mm.
And you know, that's pretty hard to take
Mhm.
when you realize that you've actually hurt the person instead of making them feel better.
And then Ron,
Especially if they cry.
yeah. And I know the next move after that. The next move after that, and I think Ron, you know the next move after that. So tell us what is the next move you should do after that?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Apologizing to the other person, and let's play one move after that, which is
Forgiving myself.
I don't know.
forgiving yourself. Amen.
Amen.
If anybody needs help with that, I've recently made these. Hold on, focus
You're out of
takes some
focus.
working on it. There they are. It's Grace on the Go. It's a little wet nap in case you feel a little extra guilt and you can't get rid of it. You simply, it has directions on it. It says direction 1, open. Direction 2, feel love. So if you open and you feel love, you should be able to give yourself a little extra grace. I also, it's flu season, so these are very handy. Uh, Ellen and Andy, one and or both of you.
So I can't say this is really a learning, but it's something that I'm beginning to think about and want to think about it more. And that is the idea of change. What has changed in relationship to trying to control my reactivity to other people? And what I thought about is the different levels of change, that the best change is really to totally wipe out whatever triggers me and not react at all. But there's so many gradations of that before getting to that maybe ideal point of just saying, well, that's just what she does and it's okay because she does a lot of good things, or counting to 10. But the different levels of change in the way we try to control ourselves when we're triggered by somebody else, that it's
Right,
really
right.
on a gradient.
I love it. And thank you. Thank you, Andy. And going to what Ron said, it's easier to talk about the terrible thing that, or the thing that we did that hit somebody else badly. It's easier to talk about this now on a Saturday after the fact. Doing it live in front of the person while we're doing it, that's the goal. That's Jedi level. We're not all there yet. But the only way to get good at something.
Practice.
Practice.
Practice, practice, practice.
Oh, I was going to say is go to the store and purchase it. But I like your answer
Where do
better.
you shop?
Let's try practice. Go ahead, Wendy, and then John and Dan.
Okay. What I learned this week was called the ladder of listening. And I can share more with you later because I just learned this. The first one is when you listen just for confirmation, meaning I've said something to you and really all I want to hear back is that you're agreeing with me, that you're validating whatever it is I said, right? I'm really not listening for you at all. The next level.
Wait. I heard
Okay.
that. That was me actually just doing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Number
What's our
2,
next move? Yeah.
content, listening for content. Now I'm listening for the data, the information you want to share. Good. The next one is listening for compassion. And the fourth one is listening to learn.
Wow.
Confirmation, validation, content.
So it's confirmation, content, compassion, and to learn.
Wow.
Good.
Really good.
It's on an index card.
It does. It did. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think we had John and then Dan next.
I learned that there's a right time, I guess, and a right place. I came across something that talked about a book. And I said, okay, I got to look up that book. And I went on to Amazon and I got the rude message on Amazon, basically. You bought that 5 years ago.
Was it a book about memory?
No, it wasn't actually. It was Spong's last book. Unbelievable. And I went into my Kindle, opened it, and it was like 85 or 90% through.
Yeah.
And I swear, I didn't remember a thing. So I started reading it again and got some absolutely fantastic insights from reading it. Really fascinating stuff.
I love it.
The idea, so I've learned, go back on myself, check myself out, and maybe when I saw something the first time, I didn't see it right, or I didn't absorb it appropriately. Sometimes it's really worthwhile checking up on yourself.
Yeah, we don't take every, I love it. And I'm going to make an esoteric joke that I think 3 people will enjoy. That there's a Marcus Borg book called Reading Spong Again for the First Time. Okay, if you didn't get that joke, that's okay. But those who got it, it was worthwhile. Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a bit of a complicated situation at work that I won't go into, but what the eventual lesson was letting go of feeling disrespected, because ultimately I couldn't do anything about it and it wasn't going to change and I just had to move on.
Yeah.
Let's slow down there. Slow down there. Letting go of feeling disrespected. We're going to go to the everybody cam. Put your hand up if you could use that. Letting go of feeling disrespected.
And have.
Right? Boy, do we all feel like we are owed. Boy, couldn't we all find a little bit more peace if we let go of feeling disrespected?
But it would also be good if we were respected.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Wonderful. Go ahead, Maria.
Rita's got her hand up.
Oh, I didn't
Thank
see
you.
that. I apologize,
Well,
Rita.
that's because I can't find the thing that, so I just, the little yellow hand. I've been waving
All
on.
good.
Well, I'm in the middle of moving and my house is filled with boxes and a group of friends are coming today to help me. And I just got a call from one of them, a dear friend, just 5 minutes before I got on. And she said, Rita, I've got some bad news. Dave is dead. Her husband, he died of a heart attack overnight. And no, it's like out of nowhere. And I find I'm just shaking.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have talked about the confusion and upset I've been going through just trying to pack up one house and fitting it into something half the size. But now all I can think of is Carol and what
Yeah.
she's going through. And so I just really would appreciate support and prayers from everybody here.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Rita,
Sure
Rita,
is.
if you would like people to send emojis or something to you, if you put your phone number in the chat, or if you want people to send you emails, put your email in the chat, and then people will be able to get in touch with you.
I appreciate that. And I don't know what I want, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm going to religion outside the box. If I want support, that seems like a logical place to ask for it.
Yeah. So,
So
Rita, I'm gonna give you a. Do you have the screen where you can see everyone's faces, or are you? I can
I
put that
can
up
get
if you'd
to it
like.
real fast.
Okay, so
Hold on.
Rita, take a moment, look at all the people who are here. And people, some are waving, but look at their eyes and know that and some are putting up little heart emojis. And as terrible as it is, and it is terrible, these people are here. And there are people who want to love you.
Look
There's
at
some,
this, Joe.
Yeah.
You just love. Yeah. There it is.
thank you. Thank you for sharing, Rita.
Uh,
And that's a huge thing too. That we can't get support if we don't ask for it. We won't always get support when we ask for it, but we're much more likely to get support when we do. So Rita, I'm delighted's not the right word, but I'm glad that you asked for love so that we could all give that to you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Really.
Yeah.
I'm sort of
Numb.
numb. And also someday teach me how to find the hands up sign.
It's okay that you don't, because if you wave around enough, there are enough people watching that you're not going to fall through the cracks.
Thank you.
Yep.
The system works a little bit. Mary and then Ruth.
I was going to just say, if you don't practice letting go, it will destroy you from within. Because if you let all this resentment and this stuff that happened years ago just churn inside of you, it will make you a very unhappy person.
Right. And Mary, can I ask you a favor? Can you restate that, but doing it in first person singular? What I have found is when I
fail to let things go, it destroys me from the inside out, and I am not a happy person.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Mary. It really changed. The language changes things, doesn't it?
It does.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mary. Ruth Bernstein, go ahead.
On Tuesday, I got an announcement that my 95-year-old friend had passed away in Teaneck, New Jersey, and I live in New York. So when I got the details of the funeral, I arranged to go and I arranged to have captions. But the other thing I did was I got in touch with my grandson and his wife because the funeral was on Thursday, and I said, "Will you come for Shabbat dinner Friday night?" Because I knew that I needed HELP, and it's taken me years to be able to say that word.
Right. The H word.
H-E-L-P.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. And wow, I mean, isn't it amazing how hard it is to ask for help?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud of you. Also, I want to thank everyone who's sharing. Boy, it's lovely to get different voices in, and all of the voices that are coming in. I love hearing from all the different people, and that we don't keep hearing from just the same three people. We hear from me a lot, but hey, that's the way this whole thing goes. Um, there was another hand of somebody who wanted to share, and I think they took it hand down, so I apologize. There we go. Emily, go ahead.
What I have learned recently is about the best way to get someplace else is you got to go through it. And that includes the grief of loss of my husband. And sitting with it for however long it needs to be sat with before I can let go of it and move on to the next phase of my life. Since this move, I don't feel yet at home, and I have had to just sit in my swing and contemplate letting go of my previous life in Washington, and now I live in Idaho. So I have to let go of that. I had to walk through my house that I'm selling, walk through my life before this one will open up to me. Because right now it doesn't feel at home yet, but I won't until have walked through that. So that's where I am.
Thank you, Emily. I've been thinking about things that we have to go through in geometric shape. That there's a certain, let's say this box is 6 by 6, and here's going to be time, and here's intensity. And I'm playing with this idea that you can also try to deal with things at a much lower intensity, but then it's just going to take longer. And there are all the different boxes in between. Right? It brings me to the image that my friend Larry, not regular Larry, who I'm always quoting, but the other Larry. Some of you might remember this image.
Yeah.
Larry talked about sometimes he's here and he's walking along and then he falls down into a pit. And on the way down, when he was younger, he would claw his way into the side so that he would slow the fall down. But as he got older, he realized the less he clawed on, the more momentum he had to bounce back out.
Yeah.
Let's take a minute Maria, you have a long list of names. And also, folks, I have to acknowledge the world's on fire. California is on fire. But the death of former President Jimmy Carter is on a lot of people's minds, as it is mine. The transition of power that's about to happen in this country in which I live looms heavily in the future. I was thinking, why am I having a hard time? And the answer is because I'm aware, I'm alive, I'm sentient, I'm not depressed. If I go back to this, depressed is all the way flat and takes a really much. Oh, you can't see what I'm talking about. There you go. Okay. So, Maria, would you help us with our list of other people to pray, the people for whom we would like to send light and love?
These are the people to whom we are sending light and love. Ken in Spirit and Joe, Carolyn, Brandon, Flynn, and Porter, Lauren, Brian, Addie, and Lincoln, and the Ludwig and Applebaum families. Sheridan H., Shirley W., Judy Love and her family, Lynn S., Greg, Patsy Sister Sue, Becca, Nicole, Yuval, and Lorena, Tane and Kelly, Warner Taylor, Nancy Glenn Hansen and family, the Stitcher family, Barry, Nancy A., Viv, Karen, Gwen and Reed, Bernadette Applebaum, Ari Lane, Angie, Mary, and Rita W. If there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list on Facebook. And for the people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Thank you, Maria. We're going to take a minute of time. Thank you all. Some announcements as usual. You know my first announcement. It's always this one.
It's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. I don't know who needs to hear this today, but it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. I promise. It's okay not to be okay. You don't have to be okay. You don't have to be. It's not even perfect. You don't even have to be good. It's okay not to even be okay. Other announcements. Religion Outside the Box is a 501c3 tax-exempt religious organization. It is officially categorized by the IRS as a church, I found out. And I also found out that in order to change it, I have to contact my senators and have them change it. And I realized, or I had the thought, I hope to God they have better things to do. So Religion Outside the Box is stuck being a church, and I'm fine with that. Speaking of being fine with that, if somebody wishes me Merry Christmas, I say thank you. because I'm not an asshole. If someone uses the word God in a way to give me a blessing, and it's not the name of God that I'm particularly fond of, I'm okay with that. Same reason, because I'm not an asshole. The quote that I'm about to put up on the screen. Oh, back to the religion outside the box. If you do not make a monthly donation to Religion Outside the Box, please consider doing so. I'm doing the taxes and all the paperwork from last year. Everyone who has given, I appreciate it. This is how this all works. And if you cannot, that's okay too. Let me put up a quote on the screen. I'm going to ask different people to read up until the punctuation. So I'm going to ask people to read, and if you are reading, read until the first comma, and then the next person will read until the next apostrophe or whatever punctuation comes next. This quote uses the God word. You have been warned. It might not fit exactly with your understanding of what God is, and that's okay. And here's this quote. It's called the Other Serenity Prayer. I'm going to move the eyes, which are at the top of the screen, off. I don't know why that graphic is there, but we're going to make it a little easier to see right there in the corner. Okay. Carol Ann Clausen Williams, would you mind starting this prayer off for us and reading to the punctuation?
Certainly. God, grant me the serenity to stop beating myself up for not doing things perfectly.
Stop there. Give everyone a second to reread that first part. Grant me the serenity to stop beating myself up for not doing things perfectly. Candace, one of my Candaces, would you read the next part?
The courage to forgive myself because I'm working on doing better.
Can you read that one more time? I'll start it. It says, God, grant me the serenity to stop beating myself up for not doing things perfectly. Read the second part again.
The courage to forgive myself because I'm working on doing better.
Everyone take that one in. Mm-hmm. Grant me the serenity to stop beating myself up for not doing things perfectly. The courage to forgive myself because I'm working on doing better. The courage to forgive myself. Do you get that? Mm-hmm. Courage to forgive myself. Diana Newton, would you take us all the way to the end there?
Yes. And the wisdom to know that you already love me just the way I am.
Hello. Can we get an amen?
Amen.
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 Grant me the serenity to stop beating myself up for not doing things perfectly. The courage to forgive myself because I am working on doing better. And the wisdom to know that I am already loved just the way I am.
Amen.
I'll tell you something that works with this serenity prayer and the standard serenity prayer. It's a little loophole. If I do not have the serenity to stop beating myself up for doing things perfectly, if I do not have the courage to forgive myself because I'm working, if I do not have the wisdom to know that I am loved, that's okay too. It just means that I don't have that yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, I have a thing I want us to talk about. We have 15 minutes left. I don't think the Wednesday group who usually yell at me for trying to bring in a new topic, I'm going to tell you that I'm starting that here. New topic. Okay, hi. Welcome. Glad you guys are all here. I'm taking a moment just to look at all your faces and be delighted that you've chosen to be here. Okay. Should I ever catch on fire? I know the protocol is stop, drop, and roll. I've been told that enough times. I know that's what you're supposed to do. If you catch on fire, you're supposed to stop, drop, and roll. Like we know the protocol. What do you do if you catch on fire? Stop, drop, and roll. Great. what I would like is a protocol for what should I do when I find myself with somebody who's super anxious.
Mm.
When I run into someone who's super anxious, I know some of the things, like if you catch on fire running down the street, that's not stop, drop, and roll. I know not to do that. When I'm with someone who's anxious, I know saying, would you fucking calm down? I know that's not the right thing to do either. That doesn't work. What can I do? What do you do when somebody says, when you are with a friend, a loved one, maybe even a stranger who is a little anxious? What strategies do you have? And I don't have great answers to this. If I had the answers to it, I would tell you the answers that I have. I don't have a lot of answers. I have one other thing that I did come to thinking, and then we'll get to Chad and Lisa. People who are anxious are, by definition, unsettled. And to be around someone who is unsettled is unsettling. There's something communicative. There's something
Contagious.
contagious. That's the word I was going. Thank you.
That's a
There's something
great word.
contagious about the unsettlement. So the question is, what can we do? And let's find out. Lisa, who has the answers, and then we probably could close the discussion after Lisa talks and gives us the answers that she has. Lisa, your camera is a little out of focus, but I'm sure we'll be able to hear you as soon as you unmute.
So as a nurse, I work with veterans that have post-traumatic stress disorder, and I get a lot of anxious people into my clinic. And their blood pressure is sky high, and I teach them whole health, breath work, and visualization. What I teach them is to visualize that they are either floating on a cloud or their favorite place of peace, and inhale slowly for a count of 4, and exhale extremely slowly for a count of 8. And just continue to breathe like that for just a few minutes.
I love that. Lisa, you have the advantage of being authorized in your work position to tell people how to de-escalate their anxiety. And that's fantastic. But when I'm dealing with my cousin, who has not authorized me to tell her how to calm down, but she's all spinning her. I might, because it's my cousin, be able to say, hey, I don't think you've had a breath of air. Maybe taking a breath of air will help. But we have, so just one thing for us to be aware of is if we are authorized to give the person direction out of it, right? So you're prescribing something for them to do. I think what I'm also asking is, what is there for me to do? Because I can't tell them what to do. But I love that. Also, and what Lisa was saying, exhaling, people say take a breath, and we often are stuffed up and we try to suck in another moment of air, and it's a little hard to do. But to exhale is lets a little bit more out. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, I came up with stop, feel, and forgive. Like
Instead of stop,
forgiving
drop,
both
and roll.
Instead of stop, drop, and roll.
Give me those words
That's
again.
what stop, feel, and forgive. And the
Stop,
forgiveness I know for
feel,
me
and
needs to
forgive.
be for me and for them. Because
Stop.
I'm getting caught up in their tension as well as them getting caught up in theirs, and that requires a lot of forgiveness all around in my experience.
Stop, feel, forgive. I like that.
Every now and then I come up with a good one.
A lot of times you do.
I have some trouble with that forgive at that point. If I'm super anxious, I'm certainly not ready to forgive at that moment.
Yeah, it's hard.
Stop, feel.
But Emily, if you stop first and allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and settle yourself in,
yeah,
then the forgiveness can happen. It's not
Thank you,
just
Robin.
jump straight
Right.
to the forgiveness because that's
One,
not, you're right.
two,
That isn't going
pause,
to work.
pause. Number 9 might be for
There you go.
right.
It depends on how many feels are in there.
Yeah. But
And if you don't get to number 9, staying with number 2 is not a bad option either.
It's true.
Right.
What I'm noticing is that the person that is listening to the person who is anxious is quiet, silent, just there. Be there with them. Let them be. Don't try to fix them.
Yeah.
Just
stop, be present.
You do your deep breathing and see if your energy field is affecting them.
I love that.
I gotta say, if these are people you know, then what is your call to action is going to be different for each person with anxiety. It's not.
And thank you, Robin. That's what I was trying, and I'm not sure I got to right. Is it depends on what you are authorized to do. If you are a nurse and they're coming to you for PTSD, you are authorized to give advice. If
and
you
also
are just
who they are. I mean, because
and who they are
if it's
to
my
you.
child, I'm definitely authorized. But if it's the one child that has this kind of anxiety and the other child that has this other kind of anxiety, I know stop, drop, and roll will work for the one because they're going to think it's funny. And I was like, okay. And then they can, and the other one needs me to be still and just be present. So
I'm going to upgrade the number system. So it's going to be number 1 is stop, and that can last for a very long time. The second step might be number 20 is feel, and then number 90 might be to forgive. This is not, I think, okay, right. I think this just finally made sense to me. In case of fire, you need to do the fucking movements quickly from one to the other because you're on fire.
Yeah.
And just
when
to
we're
clarify,
yeah.
And just to clarify, you don't need a doctor's order or any sort of prescription to do whole health relaxation and breathing. It could be anybody. Anybody can learn this. It's for everybody.
Yeah, it's just not something you can go up to a stranger and say, you need to take your breath and tell them what to do because they don't want to hear it from you.
I'm just telling you what I see in my clinic and lowering people's blood pressures with the blood pressure. I've dropped people's blood pressures like
absolutely
30 to 50 points by the breathing exercise.
Yeah. Harold or Connie?
It's me. I was a volunteer at our hospital in Cleburne. And on several occasions, I've had ladies come in and they were upset about something that's going on and happening. And I stand there and quietly listen to everything they say. And then I said, I think you need a hug. And I give them a hug and they feel so much better afterwards. And it's just the thing to do to help people. The physical touch of another person makes a whole lot of difference in how they feel.
Yeah.
You're also underlining again the importance of step number 1. Stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. We can stop ourselves first. Go ahead, Mary, and then Carol, and then Michael. And then Rita, you found your hand. Good job.
Yeah, with help.
Go ahead, Mary.
I ask, and because there are a lot of people who don't want this, I ask, will a hug help? Sometimes if you try to hug someone who is not receptive to that kind of contact, it will make them worse.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I say, will a hug help? And if they say no, I said, and I ask, what do you think might help? I ask them, and sometimes they're too worked up to respond, but I give them the opportunity to let me know what I might do.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm thinking for myself, when I'm anxious, what do I want? And it goes back to what Diana was talking about. I want to be heard. Really, the first thing I want is to feel heard. Michael, and I lost somebody's hand, I think.
You
Go
lost
ahead,
my
Michael. Oh, Carol. It was
Um,
Carol. Go ahead. Wait, Michael, let me go with Carol and then to you.
No, I put my hand down because what Connie said was perfect.
Yes.
It was
Excellent.
Rita. I pressed the wrong button. It
Rita,
lowered.
I'm going to get to you in a second. I got Michael and then Ellen and Andy and then you.
Okay.
Let's go with Michael first.
my first rule is a don't, and don't ask them why they feel anxious. Just don't.
We're going to add that to my list here. Stop, which includes being quiet.
Yes.
And asking. Then we had Andy and Ellen.
Well, I think that it can be more challenging if the source of their anxiety is you. Like if they perceive, if from their perception they are, being triggered by you. So then I think that makes your response more complicated.
Yeah. Ellen, how long have you been married to Andy?
51 years.
Yeah. It's never, you're not talking from personal experience at all.
I wasn't referring.
No, none of us thought you were referring. It was a different question altogether. You're all fine. Yeah, no, that was not about Andy or you. It was just in general. Go ahead,
No, it's
Rita.
just something I read in the newspaper.
Right.
Talking to your friend.
Right,
Yes,
right.
Rita.
Our friend.
Hold on. Let's get to Rita.
I just wanted to agree with what was said, but for me, what I'm thinking of Carol today, my friend, whose husband died overnight, and what I would say and always say, I think is, can I give you a hug? And they can say no. I mean, but hugs for me have been the most consoling things. Our lives being, filled with ups and downs.
Thank you, Rita. Okay, folks, we are coming to the end of this hour. I'm going to put everybody back onto the screen. There's everybody. Everyone, take a look at all the people and just know that there are good people in the world on this crazy internet, the people in the store, the people in the car next to yours, that there are a lot of people who are trying their hardest. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to stop the broadcast in a moment when I find that button. There it is. Say goodbye. Goodbye, Facebook people. Join us next week.
Facebook people.